Awesome. Really nice to be here today, and thank you so much for inviting me. Before I start, I would really want to ask how many of you here play sports or watch sports? Somehow it's just a lot of people on the right. I hope I change that after this presentation. I'll try my best. I myself watch sports as a form of entertainment, and I've been hooked since childhood, especially because I'm from India and cricket is our passion. So I was forced into it in the sense that everyone was watching it around me, and when I was 8 years old, I remember my uncle really sat me down and told me about all the rules, because it's quite a complicated game. It happens, goes on for a whole day, sometimes even 5 days if it's a test format. So when I got to know more about cricket, I was hooked. I like numbers, I like rules, I like data, so I really loved the game, and I started following it. And then, there are also other types of sports like football. So I really remember sitting with my friends watching the World Cup final 2 years ago, Argentina versus France. It was amazing. So it's really, really amazing to work in this field and work directly with these customers. And I'm sure you must have wondered or noticed that when you're watching the sport on TV or your streaming platforms, you see a lot of statistics in near real time. And you're like, how are they even calculating that, right? How do they know that this was the goal probability or this was the speed of the player and things of that sort? I'm going to try to break that down for you and at least give you a picture of how this is done in 15 minutes. A bit challenging, but I'll try my best. So before I begin, just a small introduction. I really got a really nice introduction already, but apart from all of that and apart from my work as a senior AI/ML engineer at AWS Professional Services in Germany, I'm much more than that. So this is a picture from my solo travels in Japan last year. So I love traveling, really passionate about that. I really like public speaking, I guess, which is why I'm here today. The last couple of years have been speaking a lot, trying to show the world what tech can bring, especially women and my community. And lastly, I'm really, really passionate about women in tech and young talent in tech. So not just women, but young talent. So I make sure that through my organization and through different initiatives, I bring the women along with me. And this is a full circle for me today, because the first conference that I attended as a student in Germany was Women in Data Science in Mannheim in Germany. So today I'm back here presenting as a speaker, so it's like a full cycle for me. So really happy to be here. So talking about sports intelligence. So I'm basically going to tell you more about what we are doing with one of our customers, that is the German Football League, so Bundesliga. And unfortunately, the video would not play, but it was a really cool video. It's a PDF format presentation, but I will try to break that down for you. So what we are trying to do with Bundesliga is we are trying to build some match statistics that you see on your screen while watching football. Statistics like, okay, what was the goal percentage? What was the possession? What was the speed of the player? Will the player score a goal from this position? And so on and so forth. And there are some infographics that I will show you to give you more understanding. But what I really want to kind of give back at this point is, even before the AI magic happens and even before the generative AI magic happens, which is the buzzword these days, what is really, really important is your data. So I would like to stress and also spend some slides on that fact and show how in near real time we are gathering and syncing live stream data, which is around 3.6 million data points for every match, and then leveraging that to do all the cool AI and all the cool predictions that we're going to talk about today. So building a match fact, as of today in 2024, AWS has created 15 Bundesliga match facts that are shown on screen every time you watch a football match. And there are 4 pillars behind building these match facts. So the first one, as I said, really, really important, is capturing the data and making sure that this data, this live stream event data, is synced between all the systems, so your AI systems, your data analytics systems, so that all the analysis can happen. So one thing that I would really like to call out at this point for the data capture is the Apache Kafka streaming functionalities that we are leveraging, so the Apache Kafka cluster that we're leveraging on the cloud to make sure that these events are processed in near real time and synced with all the systems. Then comes the machine learning part. So when we get all the data, so position data, tracking data through the cameras and the sensors, and also data that a lot of curated data that experts are really like entering while the match is happening. So that information is all taken in, and on the cloud using services like Amazon SageMaker, which helps you kind of run models in the cloud and serve these models in real time, we get some predictions. So like I said, the goal probability, for example, is one of the statistics, one of the 15 statistics. Once we get all of this, what is also really important is you make sure you deliver this in the right way. So ML AI is really storytelling. So you can get 99% accuracy, 95% accuracy, but if you do not showcase this in a way that your audience, which is fans here who are really, really passionate, right, in a way that they understand, you failed. So visualization is a very, very important pillar here, and then distribution, right? So this is, again, in real time, on your phones, on your screens. So that is also a very important pillar here to building a match fact. So here, as I mentioned, we have 3.6 million data on an average per match. Coming from cameras and sensors. We have tracking data and positional data. And on top of that, there is event data on an average, again, 1,600 data points per match, which is curated by humans. So they are at every point in time looking what's happening. There is a kickoff that starts the match until the final whistle when the match ends. All of that is being tracked on a system and sent, again, to our AI systems for predictions and generations. So again, we didn't have the video, but this infographic will give you an idea. So what really is happening here is, so the statistic that here you see on the screen is the goal probability, and we're trying to predict what this goal probability will be for a player from the FC Bayern München team, given all the different details that he has, right? So what's his speed? What's the pressure at that point, distance to the goal, what is the angle to the goal, and there are 8 more data points that we haven't shown in this infographic, but based on all of this, there is a model that is hosted in the cloud, and given all this input, it's predicting the goal probability to be 6.41%. So in a nutshell, this is how it works. And we do this for a lot of customers and across a lot of industries. And I brought sports here today because there are a lot of women in our team who are building this. And me personally, I feel like I'm getting the confidence to get rid of my imposter syndrome when it comes to facing industries that are very, very highly dominated by men. Because today, I feel confident in looking like my skills and my data science experience can also bring value in such male-dominated industries. So this is how one of the predictions looks like. And once that's done, I think the next pillar that I talked about was visualization. So we use all of these information, so the data feeds into the adapter and the rendering engine, and then it's broadcasted to the world. So when you look at the screen, you see all those visualizations on your screen, not just the match. And this is really, really changing the whole experience as a fan. And then we leverage AWS media services to kind of broadcast it. So we also are helping the customer broadcast this across the country and the globe. So Bundesliga has around 13 million fans across the world. Different countries, languages, so we also help in localization to make sure that it's not just in German or English as the dominant languages, but in your local language as well, so that you can understand and enjoy the experience to the fullest. So this is the commentary live system. So I mentioned about humans curating data for you. This is the system where they enter all of those 1,600 events. And this is what we are basically leveraging to generate commentaries using generative AI. So at every point in time, all of the information is entered, like kickoff happened, there was a penalty, there was a break in the middle, there was a red card, so on and so forth. And all of this data is fed into our system. So Going to the meat of this presentation, which is on generative AI, how are we using this to generate commentary for football matches? So the input is basically the 1,600 event data on an average for every match that we are leveraging and feeding into large language models, which are hosted on the cloud. So a lot of you must have heard of these different large language models. So irrespective of whichever model you use, they are available via an API endpoint. And based on those, you feed this data to the model, and it gives you the generated commentary. What we are also trying to do is, and this is where scale and operationalization comes into picture, is we want to do it in 5 different languages at the moment and in 3 different styles, because no fan is similar. No 2 fans are similar, right? So we're trying to do it in Gen Z style, very interesting commentaries generated, very interesting emojis and terms being used, really amusing, sports journalist style and also casual style. And we want to do more, right? So this is where, we are kind of really trying to test the capacity of these models and how they perform, because every second we are making generations like in hundreds. So this is where we want to make sure that it's powerful and can scale. So just looking at the architecture a bit, it's serverless and event-driven. So when I say serverless, which means the servers are not running continuously, and you do not really need to maintain it continuously. So every time there's an event coming in, that's when the pipeline is being triggered. And otherwise, it's very cost efficient, and you don't have to really pay for when it's not running. So as you can see here, the events data come in, you ingest the data, you process the data, and then there is a compute service that is leveraging the call, leveraging and making call to Amazon Bedrock, which is again a service that helps host a lot of large language models. So there are lots of large language models available, and these are not only proprietary Amazon models, but external models as well. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard about different vendors like Anthropic and Perplexity and things of that sort. You've heard of Llama. So every time you open LinkedIn, there's a new model, right? There's something new that's happening. So through Amazon Bedrock, a lot of these models are made available via API endpoints. So you make calls to the model, you generate the commentary, you save it in the server so that it can be broadcasted in real time to the world. The exciting thing is we started this as a proof of concept, and then we launched it March this year live at a match. So there was a match, very interesting and very, very relevant, because the match that it first was launched for was from the Women's Football League in Germany. And we really, in real time, generated commentaries in 5 different languages at the stadium. And it was also broadcasted on the fan app, so they could see it. Another very important use case here would be that, imagine there are 2 or 3 matches happening together. And I've seen a lot of people just switching channels. They know, okay, this is my favorite team, I focus on this, but if the other team loses in the other match, this team could make through. So there are a lot of different scenarios, right? And in such scenarios, what you could do is watch your main match, but on your phone, get a live feed and ticker to follow the other matches. So this is what it would or could help in, and this is what we're trying to leverage. So right now, what we are also trying to do is making sure that this is used not just for fans, so not just from B to C, but also B to B, in the sense that there are a lot of broadcasting agencies and companies that need this kind of data. There are a lot of magazines and industry and press that need this kind of information. So you can generate commentaries, but you can also generate summaries of matches or some articles that talk about the important events for a match. So we can create a lot of content for different kinds of products for our customer or any other sports customer. So I have 2 more slides, and this was really lightning, as rightly termed. But I really wanted to personally share this slide with you, because a lot of us want to start the Gen AI development journey, but it can be a bit overwhelming, and where do I start? Do I train a model from scratch? Do I fine-tune the model? What is prompt engineering? And I always go back to this slide, because Not a lot of times, or most of the times, you don't really train a large language model from scratch. Very expensive, not even good when it comes to the environment, very cost, lot of infrastructure required and things of that sort, lot of data required, which a lot of organizations don't have. A lot of them come down and they try to fine-tune the model. Again, not very relevant. It wasn't very relevant for our use case. So it depends on use case to use case. We had large language models that were performing really well because they have internet scale data that they've seen, and it's just about generating content, right? We were not doing something very specific to, for example, the healthcare industry or things of that sort. So what we really did is we leveraged contextual prompt engineering. So we wrote good prompts. We followed best practices for prompt engineering. There are different techniques like prompt chaining, which means like break down the steps. Think of the model to be a kid. Break down the steps and give all the instructions that the model would understand, and give it context. So when we gave those instructions, we also told the model, hey, by the way, this is the event data. The event data had information about the player, the time, the location, the team, and all of those things, right? So if you were to start, I would say start from something simple. So prompt engineering is a very good starting point to leverage generative AI in your use cases and see how you can use it for your use case and projects. And lastly, I also wanted to kind of tell you about the possibility, the art of the possible when it comes to generative AI in sports and also otherwise. So this is not just the be it and end it, right? It's not just about generating commentaries, but you can do much more. For example, in audio, what we're trying to do is the generated commentary, we are now trying to convert it into speech. Speech, but very expressive, lifelike voices. And you must have seen this already out, right? So instead of showing it on your screen, we would play it live in different languages and different styles in different places. So audio is also another area. And visual assets as well, right? So there are a lot of visual assets when it comes to sports and media and entertainment. And we want to use generative AI and AI to kind of generate more content and also improve content. So there are times where there are some highlights. There was a goal scored. You want that clip to be really shortened, or you want to show it in slow-mo. So you can really leverage generative AI and AI to do those kind of things. So yeah, a lot was spoken of, but I'm here the whole day, so if you have more things to talk about or discuss, really happy to share. We are doing a lot in this area, and there's a big team behind me, with me doing this, so yeah, very happy to share a bit of it today in these 15 minutes. Thank you so much. Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you, AAMNA, for the really interesting talk about sports. Just to mention, we kind of ran out of time for the questions, but she will be here for the mentorship session, so please catch her, and she'll be throughout the day. So thanks a lot again.
Thank you.